Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Aquarius November 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant. Now we're going to use the William Blake Tarot, which you may or may not be familiar with. William Blake was a man who was born in England in about the mid-1700s and died around about 1820, I think, from memory. And, well, to put it, he was a mystic. And he was also a poetic genius, up there with the likes of Shakespeare himself, in my humble opinion. He was also a prolific artist, and his artworks, well, some of his artworks are contained on all of these cards here today. And so you get that mystical, spiritual sort of feel coming through. It also means that you can interpret the artwork in a way which you respond to. You don't necessarily have to be led from me. I will, however, point out a few things using my pen as I think them. But and obviously I have an interpretation of the art, but you in the reading, but you will have a different view, or you'll build upon it yourself as you respond to the art. You will find that your creative impulses do rise up when you look at this art. I've always found that with people when I've used this deck. Now, speaking of with people and dealing directly with people, I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for people from different parts of the world over FaceTime and Skype over the course of the last month. And if you might be interested to see what's involved in that, just check out the description that's in the box below. I've also done a number of healings as well. Now, the spiritual gift of healing, where the healing comes through me and not from me, you would understand the difference there. That's provided on the basis that I do not get anything in return for it. As a result of that, I'm very happy and willing to provide it for free. There's no catch. You won't be sold or recommended anything. I can't get any return from the healing. Readings, of course, I charge for, and the fees are set out on my website below, which you should have a look at the end of the video, because you might find some really interesting stuff there. You never know. To do with astrology and different other things. Now, let's get the reading underway for you. Now, because this is such a creative deck, the suits are named differently to the normal way. They're called painting, music, science, and poetry, which, they're ways in which the divine thought is expressed through humans, are they not? And as a result of that, you can see that this is very creative and interactive, the art that you will find here. But let's get underway and see what there is for you. Two of Science. Child of Poetry. Two of Poetry. A couple of twos there. 21, Arcana, Union. Fascinating. And what is this? The 8 of Poetry. Poetry everywhere. Science and poetry. Well, why don't you do what we normally do? I'll ask you to come around here, sit down here next to me. You and I will feast upon the imagery that's contained on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now, we might go down this way first, I think, down this diagonal. What do we have here? The Two of Swords. Reflection, indeed. Well, let's see what there is in store. What's going on in this artwork here? Well, this card shows a child standing with, maybe it's a little boy, with his back to a mysterious door that is slightly ajar, as you can see there. Now, beside him is a dog who growls at the opening. Now, an opening or an opportunity awaits, which may be longed for, or which may be feared. Now, both figures seem to be reflecting on their next move. Now, across the door falls a streak of dark shadow. That's at the top there, you see that. But also a burst of golden light. Now, maybe timidity and hope. There are equal possibilities here. Now, with which figure do you most identify? What are you doing there? And on what are you reflecting? Although the door may be an opportunity for growth and adventure, it could, on the other hand, indicate something to be avoided or guarded against. And it suggests unusual or unknown consequences. Now, although inviting, it might be better left unopened, because one of your choices here is not to choose. Now, the astrology of this card, placed where it is and with these others around it, is that of the moon in the first decan of Libra, at 23rd of September to the 2nd of October. This is a really good combination, actually. Now, did you know that your moon sign describes your instinctive or emotional energies? But with the moon in the sign of Libra, I think you are likely to have at this time a deep need for peace and for harmony in your life. Now, as you know, Libra is symbolized by the scales in astrology, isn't it? And it's about balance. And this relates to any area of your life which might require some balance. And this could include your personal environment, your relationships with others, or even something going on in the work. I think that this isn't a dramatic energy here. It sort of just sits around here, and it's bringing inner peace. But it does bring the power to make decisions regarding a situation or relationship which are going to bring about spiritual and emotional peace for you. There's a great degree of mental stability here. Now, inspiration and ideas which come now are worth paying attention to. Remember them in order to be able to guide yourself by them in times of doubt and confusion. Do you know, inner peace is a special gift? Protect it, but don't try to hang on to it for dear life. Now, it may be that you are having something of a hard time making up your mind about something and you can't make a choice. Well, you don't have to choose, is what I'm saying. Now, I don't think it's acute, but it is sitting in the background and it comes up every now and again. Maybe you're using this time to just weigh up the pros and cons of a situation. And this could actually bring you to feeling as if you were sort of stagnant or passive, but don't think like that. Actually, I think you could lack the information that you need in order to get the right decision. But when you do get that information, it's like the light is switched on and you can see the situation for what it really is, and you'll be in a much better position to make the decision which is right for you. Now, what areas of your life are especially important to you? You can now calmly come to the necessary decisions. And say this to yourself during this time here, that a deep peace fills my heart. Now, as we said, we were going down that diagonal. Let's have a look at this. Individuality, the two of poetry, indeed. What is going on here? Well, the first thing that strikes me is this ethereal blue mountain, and that says that spiritual desires are in the background in here. Now, the seated man sees his material self in the mirror of nature that he is holding, and presumably he's then writing down what he sees. Now, the man's face is actually quite expressionless, and he wears very simple garments and they're material things which symbolize materialistic things and a materialistic consciousness. But these huddled dark creatures that are down there, they represent self-enclosed society that urges you to stay focused on your ego. Now, to see and express your deeper individuality, I suppose, well, that requires you looking beyond this time-bound self into the eternal self. Now, if the man in this card were to put aside his ego mirror, he will see his immortal self reflected in this square mirror that's down there at his feet, as well as the reflection of this infinite sky which is up above. Now, the angel in front of that square mirror isn't bowing to the mirror, but to the divine spirit that it reflects. Now, the astrology associated with this energy here is that of Mars in the first decan of Aries, that 21st of March to the 30th of March. This is really good because Mars here is in its own sign. And so what we have here is the ability of Aries coming into you to bring about exploration, pioneering. And the number 2 here, of course, well, that's about balance. So what you might have is the energy to move in new directions, that energy coming from Mars and new directions coming from Aries, from a place of balance and harmony with the two. You'll definitely have the confidence and aggression of Mars. In fact, there'll be something of a warlike energy about you. You may be dominating or mastering a situation. You may be dominating another person. Certainly, I don't think that you're going to be satisfied with your lot, and you'll be focusing your intent. Now, the planet of Mars here, which is the bringer of dynamic, active powers, is in its own sign of Aries, the pioneer that constantly seeks new ways and methods of moving forward. And I think for you, the drive forward finds new directions here. But this control that you have here rests on harmony and centeredness. Maybe the word command is appropriate in the sense of having command of yourself. Now, this condition demands that your energies are collected and concentrated to provide the courage necessary to embark on new paths. Now, whatever drastic changes may occur along the way, you as the pioneer will not be thrown off balance. Now, this is a time actually when I think that you will be overcome with courage, fierceness, and something of a sort of a shamelessness in some respects. You'll be generous and proud, but there could also be with you the desire to bring about revenge. And I don't make any comment about that. Certainly, you'll have a great degree of resolution. Now, I think that this energy is suggesting that your spirit, your will, is beginning to rebel against boundaries which you have already put in place. And you are going to rebel against them come hell or high water. You'll be using your willpower to break through stagnant situations and to remove long-standing blocks. This is, following this choice that you'll come to now, a time to act, and act on instinct and what you believe to be right, maybe without overthinking the situations. I think that you will have dynamic leadership ability, as well as this energy that is building up in you. Pay attention to centering, though, because if you are in contact with your center, you are certain to master the situation and trust your energy. And don't go for any false compromises. Now, maybe ask yourself, which tasks and situations are a challenge for you? If you are in a challenging situation, just sit down upright and comfortably and breathe deeply into your abdomen. And wait until your breathing flows gently and calmly and you feel quite relaxed. Then visualize the situation at hand and see yourself dealing with it while remaining centered. And say this to yourself: I find the strength I now need to be in my center. Now then, that does take us down here to this 8 of poetry. And what is going on in here? It might be worthwhile to read this quotation, because it might give us some inspiration, I think. And it says,
Time is the mercy of eternity, without time's swiftness, which is the swiftest of all things. All were eternal torment. Well, I think this window quote here suggests that you benefit from life's briefness, funnily enough, because it makes you cherish life the more. If you knew, for example, that you were going to die at 3 o'clock in the afternoon next Tuesday, you would cherish every moment. Now, I think what we have here is that we see that the figure in the card can be interpreted as the Lord of Time, who is in love with time and space. He is shown embracing his beloved, using his wide-spread scroll of poetry, I suppose, to gather the energy of eternity's wide expense and expanse. Now, the imaginative mind swiftly flies its way through the universe, forging personal meaning out of the void, and then strives to communicate its received truths. And speaking of things flying with speed through the universe, and outside of the universe is the planet of Mercury, which here is in the first decan of Sagittarius, 23rd of November to the 2nd of December. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius has the swiftness of the arrow. And this produces something of a restless intellect with you at the moment. But the number 8 here that I see, numerologically, that refers to power, balance, harmony, manifestation, practicality, skill, and decision. So with Mercury in Sagittarius, you will have clear, direct, swift communication which overcomes misunderstandings. You will also be overcoming obstacles, and events are going to be moving quite fast for you, blockages are going to be removed, and opportunities are quickly coming. Now, this is overcoming hindrances for you that stand in your way. Now, if you state your own standpoint openly, directly, and clearly, these hindrances can be transformed, and misunderstandings will yield to clarity. I think you have now found your own inner center and can present your position with emphasis and openness. A problem which has appeared to be insurmountable for you until now will fade meaninglessly into the background because of your clarity. And if you overcome your tendency to hesitate and are prepared to call disturbing influences by name, you rob them of their power to restrict and hinder you. This is a time when you'll be able to transform any situation, problem, or obstacle by taking fast action with direct communication to resolve it. But it does highlight the need for clear communication to manifest the things that you want in your life. This is a very fast acting energy that's here. It's like lightning. It doesn't hang around for long, so use it quickly. And I think you can expect to be busy, as there is a lot of energy propelling you towards your goal here. Now, you might also quickly complete a project that is underway, but don't scatter your energy. Determine where your energy will be directed and focused, and then get on with it. You see, the moment has come for you to define where you stand. And if you are open and remain centered, misunderstandings are going to be cleared. Is there anybody to whom you do not dare to open your communication with, or to state where you stand? Well, use this opportunity to open yourself up more to those people who mean something to you. Talk to them. and say this to yourself: my openness and self-confidence, it opens the hearts of those I love. Now, what was at the top corner? Let's have a look. William, it says, among other things, I found them blind, I taught them how to see. Well, you need to go and take some self-confidence lessons, Mr. Blake. Well, I think that the figure here is William Blake himself, and clearly this is indicated by this word, William, that's there. Now, his bodily attitude, leaning backward with his arms outstretched and his palms upturned, signifies total acceptance of the divine will, including possible self-sacrifice. Now, these carved stones, which are down there to the left, they show the potential for ascending the spiritual path through your own work. And his nakedness symbolizes his innocence and beauty as he receives the divine spirit. Now, although the sky is obscured by black clouds overhead, his faith enables him to attract the star that blasts through negative obstructions. I think that in general terms, this artist is saying to me that a receptive innocence can catch a falling star, an inspiration that ignites passion and even stimulates genius. Now, in contrast to this, maturity and experience can sometimes wrap themselves up in very fixed ideas, can't they, that ward off the divine energies. Now, the quotation here refers to people with blocked vision. And the poet teaches that seeing is an attitude rather than an action. It means you must put aside your clothing of selfhood and let the realm of imagination enter you without any preconditions. This child of poetry is willing to take major risks. Now, I think that Leo and Cancer are going to be important to you here, and I suggest that this is talking about someone who is, well, following from that previous card here, someone who is swift and strong, maybe quite impulsive though, maybe violent in thought or actions, but nevertheless just and noble, generous with a sense of humor. Now, there's an intensity here about you. I do see there is a blossoming love here and a great degree of intuitive creativity. In a sense, it's almost as if you are coming out of the darkness and into light. Now, this person here personifies the mastery of intuitive creativity. All senses are geared towards being used for creative purpose, so you should trust your intuition. And you might surprise others with your original ideas and solutions, but nothing is going to hinder or limit the creative flow that is within you at the moment. You will stand for honesty and integrity, and you'll have a stronger sense of morality, I think. I think this also represents a turning point. When things have been going badly for you, things are now going to start to improve. And you must use your energy and enthusiasm to move on to better things with the same confidence that this person here has. Do you know, this energy is reminding you to re-engage in life and be ready to tackle any challenges that come your way because you have the ability to overcome them, as we've seen. And I think this is also telling you to have a lust for life, to be generous, loyal, and to maintain a sense of humor because you have all that you need. Don't let yourself be contained. Don't let yourself be slowed down. Life is prepared to receive you. Trust your boundless creative potential. Now, what challenges are present in your life right now? Spread your arms wide and breathe deeply into your heart and say to yourself, I love life, and life loves me. And then finally, I think we come to this one. Union. Right. Number 21. Well, this is the last of the major arcana cards. Number 21 begins with Fool at 0 and finishes here at 21. Now, in the Tarot, this image portrays the joyful surrender with which the soul completes the journey. Now, actually, I'm just looking at these things here. What's really striking me are these border depictions here, because I think these are from chapter 1 of the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible and in the Old Testament in the Christian tradition. And this upper left oval that's there, shows the creation of light on the first day. The middle oval shows the gathering of waters to create the firmament on the second day. Now the lower left one shows the gathering of waters to create dry land on the third day. Then in the upper right up here, we have an oval that depicts the creation of the sun, moon, and stars as the lights of heaven on the fourth day. Now this middle oval here, I think what that is doing is that it shows the creatures of the sea and air being created on the fifth day. And in the lower right oval that's there, we show the creatures of the land being created on the sixth day, along with man, who is given dominion over all of them. And I think the pose of this creature here expresses wonder and gratitude for these fruits of God's imagination. Now, this is talking to me for you of the completion of a project. Your efforts are finally paying off. It has been something of a long, hard haul, hasn't it? But you're almost there. And this is a reminder for you to finish what you've started. And you are learning to take control of your own destiny, and you'll be using the power of your will to get results. Certainly there's some degree of karma being burnt off here. You see, I think what's happening is you're now starting to see the world as it really is. All the garments and masks have become meaningless and useless because you are at one with your original nature. You are caught up in the perpetual dancing motion of the universe, and the boundaries of your small I, they dissolve in orgasmic union with the universe. I think you'll be very gifted at finishing things off as well as starting new things at the same time. And there'll be a desire for you to experience as much of the world and its people as is possible. It's now possible for you to see things as they really are. The stage is set for a new beginning or for a favorable completion, and the events in your life are in harmony with the universe. Now, from what aspects of your life is it time to free yourself? Is there a journey or an enterprise waiting for you to set in motion? Trust your perceptions. Make a list of all unfinished situations whose resolution, whose tying off would give you a sense of relief, and say to yourself, I am at one with the universe. Well, what a fantastic spread of cards for you. Good job,
Well,
you.
I told you that was an interesting deck, didn't I? And I think you'll agree with me that it was. And what a wonderful month it's going to be for you. Don't you deserve it? Really, you do. Do you know what? I love doing your readings. I look forward to seeing you each month, and in particular, look forward to seeing the subscribers. You're very, very dear to my heart. Well, I guess unless I see you privately, then I'll see you again next month. And until then, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.